We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. We see it as our best value to you, to keep you on your signal of what you are wanting. We will listen to you briefly about whatever it is you want to talk about. But you're going to discover we are not very excited about assisting you in continuing to build the pathways and the thoughtways and constructing the process toward things that you do not want. There is just no justification, there is no value, there is no reason to spend any time in explanation of what you do not want. Because in all that you've been living, you've created a vortex of accomplishment that is vibrationally accurate and is in real time. In other words, right here and now, the vibration of who you have become is active and available to us and to you. What do you want to talk about? We'll take thought beyond what it has been before. It is certain we can feel who you are. Be playful about it. Don't worry if we don't call you to the chair. Everyone who sits here is in the process of helping you to know what it is you want to know. Every subject that is active within you is understood by us, and we will address every single one of them fully. Begin right here. Do you like knowing that you're vibrational? Do you like the idea of your vortex, who is all that you are, beating a signal that is so powerful that if you will allow it, it will train you into the frequency of it? Do you know what will happen when you allow your vortex to train you upward? Things that you want will manifest. And do you know what is the only thing that is keeping you from allowing your vortex to train you upward? Attention to unwanted things, that's all. If you'll stop doing that thing you do, your vortex will have its way with you. And when it does, you will like it. Do you know what your vortex is? Your vortex is the vibrational holding place for the best of all that you've synthesized through life. It's where the I know what I do want part of the equation goes when you know what you don't want. In other words, every time you sift and sort, there is a thought way that is carved out for you. It's what the evolution of all species is about. When you know what you don't want, a thought pattern of what you do want rockets out of you and is held in this vortex of creation by source energy, by your inner being. It is there for future generations. It's there for you to experience the benefit of in the moment that you become a vibrational match to it. Are you getting the sense that in this diverse world that you are living in, where there's so much that you could think about, a lot of times the I know what I don't want is necessary for the I know what I do want. So the I know what I do want is born out of all of this stuff that you are observing. And you've just been listening to us here today saying to you, that's going about it the hard way. So we're saying two things to you that are seemingly contradictions. We're saying the diversity is causing confusion, but the diversity is also responsible for this very clean, very pristine, very precise, very powerful vortex of creation from which future generations will benefit. Are you feeling the confusion yet? We'll emphasize it again. How can the contrast and all of this stuff to choose from, which has got us all sort of scurrying around trying to sort things into piles, Abraham, does it help us or doesn't it? Is it of benefit or isn't it? It's of benefit because it helps you build your vortex. But it's a detriment when you continue to try to sort it out, because the continual sorting process prevents you from ever lining up with what you've already pre-sorted. You see what we're getting at? Step one is contrast will cause you to ask. Step two is the vortex holds in an eternal holding pattern for you, sending an eternal signal of what you've asked for. Step three is you've got to find a way of being more of a vibrational match to what you've put into your vortex. So you watch a little bit of television and something, maybe it's a movie or an advertisement, but it's something that captivates your interest for a little bit of time. And as you focus there and think about it, you begin offering a vibration about it. It's not a strong vibration, but it is a vibration. It is a vibrational pattern. And law of attraction, we're not kidding you even a little bit, reaches out and connects that vibration with another. and then reaches out and connects that vibration with another. You are literally making thought pathways. You are literally constructing. Now, the thing that most of our physical friends are not aware of is how rapidly the construction of the thought waves translates into the manifestational construction. So we see our greatest value to you here today, and the greatest work that we do as we are playing with you, is to convince you of the reality of this vibrational beingness that has amassed and that is real, but that may be vibrating at a frequency where you can't yet see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, and that's why you don't believe it. It is so much easier to believe what's manifested than to believe what's pre-manifested. And this pre-manifestation, it is the precursor to all of this magnificent expansion. If we can convince you that you were source energy before you came into this body, and that the larger part of you still is source energy even though you're in this body. If we can convince you that as you explore the details of your life that you cause a vibrational expansion, and that the larger part of you immediately takes that expansion, is that expansion, has become that expansion, and is calling you to it. And if we can convince you that the way you feel is your evidence, in the moment evidence, of whether you're going with the expansion or whether you're holding back a little bit. To the degree that you feel bad, you're holding back. To the degree that you feel good, you're going with it. And if we can convince you that if you will just chill out a little, if you will stop looking at reality and letting whatever it is control your every thought, if you will allow yourself the hopeful conclusion that maybe there is a vortex, and maybe my source is within it, and maybe if I just release thoughts, that source will call me into vibrational alignment, then it is our promise to you that your vortex will train your vibration upward. Because in the absence of resistant thought, you practice a non-resistant, totally allowing thought. And the more often you do that, the more easy it is to do it, until in time, and we're talking about a very short time, you will become a vibrational match to the frequency of your source. We just want you to know, life isn't fun unless you're doing it on purpose. And when you are doing it on purpose, then it feels to you, and it is exactly this way, that the entire universe is backing you up, wrapping you with a blanket of well-being, always, always there to deliver to you not just generally what you want, but specifically what you want on every subject. You get to carve it out. You get to look through the catalogs of life. You get to sift and sort and throw into your vortex. And then, friends, you get to vibrationally tune yourself to the frequency of who you are, and you get to experience those two powerful representations of the frequency that you have accomplished. The manifestation and the wonderful feeling of expansion as it is unfolding. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how close on the heels of what you're feeling, especially if you're feeling it strongly, the manifestation follows. And then the real fun is to recognize, either because the feeling didn't feel good or because the manifestation doesn't feel good. Maybe somebody says something to you that you didn't like, that you didn't think they should have said, that you didn't really believe you had coming, and that most of all you don't ever want to hear it again, but you're hearing it, it's happening. And why is it happening? Is it happening because reality has descended on you? Or is it happening in response to a vibrational stance that you've been practicing that you maybe didn't even know you were practicing until it manifested? But here it is. Reality happens. We've seen the bumper stickers. We like this one better. Reality happens. So then you say, we want you to say, oh, but I get this stuff. I know that I'm the creator of my own experience. I'm not a regurgitator. I observed that, and I had a regurgitating knee-jerk response to it, which I kept practicing because it was really absurd and obscene what happened. And so I told everybody that I saw for a while, do you know what that guy said? Do you know what he said? Do you know what he said? Do you know what he did? Do you know how he made me feel? So you keep it going for a little while, but in all of that, launching, clarifying, vortexing, creating, doing the vibrational precursoring, it's not a word, but write it down anyway, to what future manifestations can be depending upon what you do vibrationally. In other words, you've launched the rockets, the potential is there for the new and improved experience. The question is, are you going to keep regurgitating what is, because after all, that guy was really out of line? Or are you going to take the bounce and practice, and here are the operative words, practice the less easy vibration, because that's the easy vibration. You just observed it. All of your physical senses told you it was reality, and if you gathered together with others and went on some of those talk shows, most of the people would agree with you that that person was a misbehaving person and that you are right. But we are wanting to say to you, it doesn't matter how right you are in your negative emotion or in your pushing against. You are depriving yourself of the creation that has been born out of it, and you can't feel good until you come along with the new creation, because you got to keep up with you. You got to keep up with you. And when that happens, when you spend more time in this vortex, do you believe there's a vortex? Can you sort of kind of hear it? You get what we're talking about? You have to accept it. You're good, but you haven't figured out how to scrape enough dirt together to launch it into orbit. You gotta know there's something else going on. And as you acknowledge that there is this vortex of creation, and as you acknowledge that it is a vibrational frequency, and as you accept the reality of it and feel your way into it again and again and again, and once you're in it, you milk it. You stay there as long as you can until it's more natural for you to be in that frequency than to be in a resistant frequency that doesn't feel so good. It is delicious to come together with those like you who are coming more and more every day to know who you are. We've enjoyed this especially today because you came into the vortex with us and in large part knew what we knew while we knew it. Did you feel how smart you felt? In other words, didn't it make sense? Didn't you find the logic of it? Can't you feel your power as you know who you are? We always like it when we have conversations that sort of help you to ease up on your concerns about health, and ease up on your concerns about death, and ease up on your concerns about lovers and money. Anything that causes you to just let go of your grip a little bit gets you into closer vicinity of who you really are. And because we see so clearly what's in your vortex, it is exhilarating to us to anticipate the manifestations from inside the vortex that are on your very close doorstep. In other words, the thing that is the most satisfying to us about your willingness to play with us in these kind of settings is that when you are deliberate about what you want and contemplative of it and willing to deliberately seek relief, deliberately get into the vortex, when you are consciously aware that you have identified desires and that you are consciously aligning with them, making your emotions important to you. When a manifestation occurs, your sense of empowerment just goes off the charts. And that's how you help to empower others, is by discovering your own empowerment and then displaying it. The feeling of worthiness really only ever is fully understood or experienced when life has showed you that you want it, you've recognized that you're not near it, you've done the work to line up with it, and then you've witnessed the manifestation of it. That's when you feel your power. That's when you know who you really are. That's when you are being who you came here to be, and you are allowing all that is to flow through you in this powerful moment. We feel enormous appreciation for your willingness not just to participate with us in this forum where what you want has summoned in a very clear and strong way here today, but your willingness to participate in this life experience altogether. Your willingness to come into an environment and be surrounded by contrast for the express purpose of joyous, eternal expansion. There is great love here for you. And as always,